Okay, so concept 4 is ratios and rates. So again, things in red you need to write down in your notes. A ratio is a comparison of two or more items. We're going to look at two or more things and compare them to each other. A proportion are two ratios that are equal to each other. So a ratio is a comparison of two or more things. A proportion is taking a ratio, two of them, and saying that they're equal. Okay, so let's look at some stuff here. Write a ratio of apples to bananas. So the first thing you need to look at is count the number of apples. And the reason why I want to look at the number of apples first is because it is what's listed first in the problem. So let's count how many apples there are. There are 1, 2, 3 apples. We're going to write that in here. Now we're going to do bananas. There are 1, 2 bananas. So remember, a ratio is when you compare two things. I'm comparing apples to bananas. So the way we're going to write that is a ratio can be written actually in 3 different ways. What we're going to do is look at this way first. We're going to write it with a colon. Apples to bananas. There are 3 apples to 2 bananas. Or as words, 3 apples to 2 bananas. Or as a fraction, 3 to 2. That looks like this. This is the way you'll probably see most often. And that's an improper fraction because the top number is bigger than the bottom, but that's okay because we're comparing apples to bananas. Okay, now in this example, we're going to write a ratio of bananas to apples. The first one was apples to bananas. So how many bananas are there? There's 2. How many apples are there? There's 3. And I like to kind of put a label, B for banana, A for apple. That way I know. And it's asking me to show it 3 ways. So I can show it with a colon, 2 to 3, with a word, 2, 2, 3, or as a fraction, 2 over 3. That's what a ratio is. I'm comparing 2 different things. Example 3 says write a ratio of apples to fruit. Well, how many apples are there? There's 3. How much fruit is there? Well, an apple and a banana, they're both fruit, so there's 5 of them. 3 apples, 2 bananas, that's 5. So the ratio of apples to fruit are 3 colon 5, 3 to 5 apples to fruit. 3 to 5 apples to fruit, or 3 over 5. That's how you write a ratio. Now look at this last part. It says write a ratio of strawberries to bananas. Well, how many strawberries do I have here? None. I don't have any, so that's 0. How many bananas do I have? 2. So I have 0 to 2, 0 to 2, or 0 over 2. It's important that you know the 3 ways to do it because you can see any one of those on a test. Okay, I want you to answer these next 3 questions on your own. Be careful because they're a little bit tricky. Go ahead and hit pause, answer the questions, and when you're ready to check them, go ahead and hit play again. Okay, if you check your work, the first question says write a ratio of eggs to hamburgers. Well, there's 6 eggs, 4 hamburgers. Now, we wrote it as a colon and it with the word 2. Now, as a fraction, it was 6 over 4. But in our hint, it said we must write it in simplest form. So I did birthday cake here. 2 went into 6 3 times. 2 went into 4 2 times. So in simplest form, 6 over 4 is really 3 over 2. And this is called a proportion. Remember our very first page. A proportion are 2 ratios, 1, 2, that are equal to each other. And our second question, it said write a ratio of hamburgers to eggs. Well, there are 4 hamburgers and 6 eggs. So our ratio is 4:6, 4:6, or 4/6. But again, that's not simplified. So we had to do birthday cake. 2 goes into 4 2 times. 2 goes into 6 3 times. So my ratio is really 2/3. Well, 4/6 equals 2/3. And again, this is a proportion because it's 2 ratios that are equal to each other. The right answer, though, is 2/3 because our answer has to be in simplest form. On the last one, write a ratio of eggs to food. Well, there's 6 eggs and there's 10 food items. 6 eggs here, 4 hamburgers, that's 10. So we write 6:10, 6/10, or 6/10. Well, 6/10 is not in simplest form, so we have to use birthday cake. 2 goes into 6 3 times. 2 goes into 10 5 times. So our answer is really 3/5. 6/10 equals 3/5. So what's that called when you have 2 ratios that are equal to each other? What's that called? Yep, proportion. You're right. So let's go ahead and write that in there. Remember, you're going to have a quiz over vocabulary also. So make sure you know what these are. Okay. What I want you to do is I want you to write 3 ratio problems you could ask the class about the strawberries and the cherries to the left. So when you come back to class and we go over this, I want you to have 3 questions ready to ask the class, 3 ratio problems ready that you could ask the class. Make sure you have a question and an answer. Okay? So go ahead and go take your quiz on Flink's